drugs, sex, alcohol, and heaven. Coming up next on Pastor Bob's Coffee Break. A little Headbangers brew this morning. And as you know, folks, that's our sponsor. And it's our own coffee. And the proceeds go to feed the homeless. And we've chosen to do this instead of monetizing anything because we really want to get some help for the homeless. And this is a direct way to do it. And it's the best coffee around. Headbangers Brew in ground and whole bean, and there in our store you'll find the mugs, you'll find all of our posters, and there's the one for the month. My foundation is built on the promises of God. It's a mug, it's a t-shirt, it's a free poster, and mugs like this one, I have been forgiven, which is also a free poster download too. And that's what we're going to talk about today. You can go here, wearemetalwearefamily.com. Dear Pastor Bob, you said in one of your podcasts that you believe that most of the homeless people that you serve are Christians. How can that be? Why would they live that lifestyle and be homeless? Aren't many of them abusing drugs and sex and alcohol? And by the way, etc., etc., yes, they are. And many of them are Christians. Now, this is something that we struggle with because the church has pet sins. And we assume that if somebody does drugs or if they're involved with illicit sex or alcohol to the extreme or all those things, that they're not Christians. Because once you become a Christian, you become perfect. And has that been true for you? Just saying. There's a whole lot of people that struggle with a whole lot of things, and they may not be on the sin hit list of the church, but they're just as grievous in God's eyes. Let's look at the Bible here, and 1 John 1:8 is where we're going to go first. And by the way, somebody wrote to me and said, Pastor Bob, what translation do you use? And I use several here, but I mainly use the Amplified Bible, because the Amplified Bible isn't limited on words. It uses as many words as it needs to explain the original languages. So that's why I use it here, because I think it does the best job to explain. When I'm simply reading, I usually use the New Living Translation, which is also a very good one. It's the one that our Metal Bible is done with, and great translation too, but there are so many, and whatever fits you is what you ought to use. 1 John 1:8 says, if we say we have no sin, refusing to admit that we are sinners, we delude and lead ourselves astray. And the truth which the gospel represents is not in us, does not dwell in our hearts. If we say we have no sin, or even if we say we don't have sin as bad as this guy, or we're almost perfect compared to this person, or you see what I mean? In our own eyes, we justify those things. And if we say that we don't, we delude ourselves and we lead ourselves astray, it says. And the truth which the gospel represents, the gospel says, all have sinned, all fall short of the glory of God. That truth is not in us. It doesn't dwell in our hearts. Look also at Proverbs chapter 16, verse 2. It says, all the ways of a man are clean and innocent in his own eyes. I'm a good guy in my own eyes. I'm not like that guy over there. I don't have that problem. And he may not see anything wrong with his actions. But the Lord weighs and examines the motives and the intents and the heart of the heart, and he knows the truth. We say, I'm a good guy. I don't really, wow, look at that guy over there. He's so much worse than I am. The Bible says, yeah, right, but God knows the truth. God knows that you are in the same boat. You know, so we justify things and we talk about people, and, you know, all of us have our things. And you may not be involved with alcoholism, although some of you drink a little too much. And I know you, and I know you do. Some of you use recreational drugs, not because you need them medically, but because it feels good. A little marijuana, whatever, and that's okay for you, you say. Some of you, you know, well, we're going to get married, so we just decided to move in together and have sex before marriage, which is also having sex outside of marriage that the Bible says is wrong. How do you justify all of those things? And yet you point the finger at somebody who's really hurting and they're trying to self-medicate, which isn't a good idea, by the way. I'm not justifying, I'm just saying, why do we point a finger at those people when so many are guilty of really the same things in just a little different way? Here's a poem that a friend sent me, and I thought this was so good. And it says, I was shocked, confused, bewildered as I entered heaven's door. Not by the beauty of it all, nor the lights or its decor, but it was the folks in heaven who made me sputter and gasp. The thieves, the liars, the sinners, the alcoholics, and the trash. There stood the kid from 7th grade who swiped my lunch money twice. Next to him was my old neighbor who never said anything nice. Herb, who I always thought was rotting away in hell, was sitting pretty on cloud 9, looking incredibly well. I nudged Jesus. What's the deal? I would love to hear your take. How did all these sinners get up here? God must have made a mistake. And why is everyone so quiet, so somber? Give me a clue. Hush, child, he said. They're all in shock. They never thought they'd be seeing you. That's good, isn't it? The poem is by J. Taylor Ludwig, and it's awesome, isn't it? But I imagine that's probably going to be the case for all of us. You know, folks, all have sinned, all fall short of the glory of God. And I know I've done things in the past where people are saying, wow, what a creepy guy. You know, what a horrible person. And when we see each other in heaven, they're going to say, how did that guy get here? Yeah, because I remember those things. And they remember those things, and you remember those things. But you see, that's not what qualifies us, folks. All have sinned, all fall short of the glory of God, but the good news is God hasn't judged us according to our sin. He sent Jesus on the cross to die for us, and his blood on the cross covers our sin. And the Bible says, to as many as receive him, to those who believe in his name, he gave the right to become children of God, not because we earned anything or deserved anything or continue to deserve anything, but because God so loved the world that he gave his only son. That's cool, isn't it? Very cool. Well, folks, if you haven't signed up, by the way, for our mailing list, you're you're missing out. I'm sending out an email letter every single week on Mondays, and it's got our live chat schedule on it. It's got a lot of things on it that you're going to want to see, and I have a special video there and a special blog there, and I would love to spend a little more time with you. So at the end of this podcast, you're going to see a place to go, and it's sanctuaryinternational.com, and go there and just sign up for the email, and I'd love to make sure that you're part of all of that. And just in case we get kicked off of some of the social media places where you watch this, which is happening to a lot of people these days, we'll always have you in our email list, and we'll always be in contact. Well, folks, also don't forget that you are blessed, forgiven, and blessed. So go and be a blessing.